I'm so happy. Oh my gosh.
I am
Uh,
happy also. Thank you that you called me. It's a huge pleasure.
so, everyone, this is Tea Panca. She's a pigmentology expert, and I am really happy to have her here today because I attended her course like 1 month and a half ago, and it was perfect. It was like a game changer for me. And I really think that pigmentology topic is really, really, really important in order to create the beautiful results after the procedure, and even more important, healed ones. So, Thea, please, let's start. How do you choose your good pigments, and what is the most important to look for when I am choosing the pigment for myself? With what kind of pigments I would like to work?
Of course. When I'm choosing my pigments, most important thing is that I have information that I for some techniques, some pigments perform better than other.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean when I say that. We know that we have a different chemistry origin of our pigments. We have mineral, inorganic, and we have uh, synthetic, organic. When I'm telling about organic, I must just tell everybody that that doesn't have anything with uh, categorization of food. Uh, I don't know how to say food product producing.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not organic mean that we made those pigments in laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
Mineral means that we get our materials direct from earth. So that means that our mineral pigment will have big molecule. That molecule can be different size, different weight, different. Everything is different. So in that, when we have that kind of information, we know that that kind of particle cannot be resolved in the water well. They
Mm-hmm.
need different kind of carrier. So we choose glycerin. When we have huge molecule and glycerin, that means that applying that kind of pigment in the skin will be more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that kind of stuff when I'm doing a shading. That means that for shading, I will look organic pigments. Actually, I will look for hybrids because they have small particles. They are very good resolving in water. They are applying to the skin very easy. So depend of the techniques. What I'm gonna do, I'm choosing the pigment. For all shadings, choose hybrids. For all hair strokes, either machine, either with manual techniques, I will always choose mineral pigments.
Okay. And what do you prefer for lips or eyeliner?
Oh, for eyeliner, we are always working with mineral because carbon black is a mineral pigment. It's not synthetic. It's most powerful black that we have. So for me, it's carbon black. It's mineral always. For lips, oh, I, I love hybrid pigment because they are so easy to apply. But I love some lines of mineral pigments also because they give me beautiful results. Aquarelle, very
Mm-hmm.
very loose. So depends again of technique what I want from my work for heal result. I choose different kind of pigments, but I'm also working with minerals and with hybrids. When I'm when I'm speaking about pigments, every pigment have good side and bad side, of course.
Exactly.
So we are we are not we are always restricted with those characteristic of materials that we actually use. Main thing
Mm-hmm.
is that we know how to work with skin, with human body. This is more important for good procedure for to not to have stress like we all had with the bad health results. You
Exactly.
know, we
Yeah.
spoke about laser removal and
Yeah.
non-laser removal, and we have all history.
Yeah. We all have to start somewhere, right? And because we do mistakes, we learn from them. We cannot learn like in a different way.
No,
So
because you have to have good or bad, just in order to know to know what is good and what is bad. I'm
exactly.
also start to learn from my mistakes. So without that, no
Yeah,
pushing forward.
exactly.
Yes.
And how do I know that I am working with a good quality pigments? And how can I find this out?
You know, you can see on Instagram or on YouTube those funny, nice marketing videos that we are stretching colors, we are putting colors in the water, and uh, I have my expression is that everybody is doing that for marketing. Actually, this stretching a pigment and putting pigment in the water have a reason why. This is the only way that we have actually can analyze, do the good analyzation of our pigments. Why we stretching pigments? Pigments we must stretch because our eye cannot recognize the color and the full concentration. This is why we stretch with the water and cotton pad. In that, this is the only reason. It's a good marketing, of course. We can do the nice videos, but mainly reason why we stretch a pigment is to get those lightest parts that we actually can analyze what is in this that mix exactly. So
Okay.
we can do that with stretching pigment or with simply putting drop or two in the cup of water.
Okay. And how do you choose colors for your clients? Do you take into consideration a Fitzpatrick scale or this kind of stuff? Or you choose only based off your knowledge and how you work with this kind of pigments?
For Fitzpatrick scale, I must tell that Fitzpatrick scale have it can be used only in lips. For
Okay, because
choosing
of
the
nail
color
art,
for
right?
lips. Yes, for eyebrows doesn't work. Doesn't
Okay.
work because you. I'm sure that you had the situation that you use one kind of pigment for two clients and you get different kind of results. I'm choosing single by good analyzation, but my knowledge, of course. When you learn to analyze pigment and predict healed results, it's actually very bonded. When you learn to analyze the pigment, you can actually get idea what that gonna bring you in the healed results. So
Okay.
mainly for eyebrows, I choose based to my knowledge, based to good analyzation of the colors, and I always respect that shade that we put in the when we do powder brows or shading. That our shade must be lighter than natural hair. And when I do hair strokes, that means that I need to target the same color as the natural hairs on my client.
Okay. And can you please tell in some kind of really easy way how people can analyze their pigments at home, for example, for them to actually understand what kind of pigments they have and how to work with them?
Ha! I'm always. What is the huge problem? What I find as the problem that our sellers actually doesn't have stretched pigment uh, in their shops that our colleagues cannot actually see what color is that.
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest way is really to stretch pigment with cotton pad and some water and single paper, because you will see it's up actually different when you stretch it. I will do it that now for you, just
Okay.
to, yes, to have
That is
idea.
perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
you are
Yeah.
welcome. What we are actually doing, why we are doing such a thing, because you know, especially in the start, our colleagues are choosing the color, and they was, I was choose so nice brown color, it's turned to green. What was wrong? What I did wrong? Wrong is that you don't know how to analyze. It's mainly, uh, you can also hear that our colleagues saying, but I didn't learn anything on my basic course of techniques. Of course that you didn't, because this is not for basic education. You need your experience. You need to have all kind of healed results. You need to resolve all your problems with techniques, with the devices, with needles, and then at the end, it's time for pigmentology. We cannot skip the steps. So
Exactly.
I put one drop or two first water, then pigment. I will bend my cotton pad and I will stretch it. I will connect my lines. So this is what I get. You choosing a color based to this. You're choosing from the bottle and you choose this color. But in the healed result, this is what you're gonna get. So the
Yeah.
easiest thing that we can do is to stretch a pigment. We can stretch to those the lightest part that we actually can see. Is it our pigment? Reddish, greenish, yellowish, violet, or something like that. All information that we have, we're gonna get from this very simple stretching on the white paper. This white paper actually give us effect of our skin. This mute a little bit a color. It's work like filter. So white paper, printing paper. Nothing glossy, nothing fine, nothing nice, nothing beautiful. Just single paper for printing. So this
Okay.
is the easiest way for good analyzation of pigments.
Okay, so when people stretch the pigment they have and they use, they can stretch it on a white paper, and then they see how it looks like on the top. It's the it's the what we are what we see when we see the bottle, and
Yes,
at the bottom there is exactly the shade how it's going to be once healed, right?
yes, yes. This is
Okay.
very simple.
Okay, perfect. And can we see more? Can we have more information from this stretch or only these things?
Of course, that you can get all kind of information. Of course, depends if you know what to look. You can
Okay.
get actually information which is dominant color in our pigments, because the dominant colors in our stretch is actually uh, give us information what we're gonna get in the healed results. So
Okay.
if our color isn't properly proportioned, that means that we can add that part which is missing in order to get pigment with perfect proportion of three basic colors which we mix for all brown shades that we actually use for eyebrows, for example.
And do you often use correctors when you
I
create your?
always use correctors. I love correctors, but I know that people are scared of correctors. Of course, you cannot use correctors by themselves. Corrective colors are just to add in your mix, just for fixing a proportion of your pigments, to change temperature, to change uh, lightness of your pigment, light value, or maybe to change saturation of your pigments. Without
Okay.
corrective colors, you cannot do that.
Yeah, and please, let's speak a little bit about neutralization or
Uh,
cover up,
of course,
because
my
this is
favorite theme.
the biggest problem, right?
Yes.
So tell us what you think is the most important to understand or to know in order to understand when to do neutralization, and if it really makes the sense to do it,
Yes, of
because
course.
it's not
First,
really easy.
no, of course. First of all, I want to speak about skin because you understand that skin is actually the key of good permanent makeup treatment. We
Exactly.
cannot skip that. We are not working on the blank paper. We are working on the hugest organ of our body. So skin is the hugest, but maybe even smartest that organ that we have. For example, if our skin have uh, capacity to of 2 deciliters of pigment, for example, we can apply just 2 deci. We cannot apply 3 or 4. What is the main problem? Are all our brown colors? For example, for our eyebrows, eyebrows are the hugest problem. All our brown colors is mix of yellow, red, and black, and of course white. So we have 4 colors. Every color have her own characteristics. So, for example, the carbon black is the smallest particle, but beside the smallest, he is the heaviest. He will drop on the deeper, for
Surface.
example, than
Mhm.
our orange, our red, our yellow. Who are any colleagues or artists who are working with lasers know that when we remove our black from the skin, we use the nozzle with uh, 10, 10
Yeah,
64 nanometers, yes. And
yeah.
for example, for red, we use 532, for example, nanometers. What does that mean? That means that our black particles will be twice as deep than our red. Yellow, I don't mention because the yellow is even on top of red, little bit higher than red. So, if we need to neutralize our black, our gray, and we know that this is on the deeper than our red and yellow, I'm asking, can you neutralize that? If you know that our orange, our red, and our yellow cannot get deep enough to neutralize that black. Of course not.
No,
No,
exactly.
it's pointless. What we are doing, we are just um, oversaturating our skin. And make almost impossible to remove with laser or I don't know with all kind of removals are bad permanent make. It's not point. It doesn't have a point at all. For me, it's better to remove and then do the new brows than oversaturated, overlapping, because in some point our brows gonna be like relief, like 3D. It will pop up from the surface of the skin.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really happy that you really nicely explained this, because I think there is a lot of people who are not sure how this works.
Yes.
And from your explanation, they will understand it perfectly and they will never do it, because from the beginning, when I didn't have enough information, I did it. And I did
Yes,
it
of course. I
so
me
many
too.
times. But yeah, but you know what's the problem? I think the biggest problem is that sometimes when people, of course, there is carbon black only because it's the most it's the biggest. It has the biggest light fastens
Yes. Yes.
scale, so
Yes.
it's still like organic pigments. They are still going to be grayish after some time. But the thing
Yes.
is that people, clients, they don't want to
Remove.
the laser. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So there is no other choice actually, right?
I stopped to do that. I don't even consider that. If I have a client who's insist with covering up, I'm just need to excuse myself and send them to other place, because I learn at the end. This is the marketing for me, because nobody will tell. This is Thea who cover up of, I don't know, Maya's work on Leah's work. It will be, this is Thea's work, you know,
Yeah,
because we
exactly.
remember only the last one who is performing. The nobody doesn't want to know what was previous.
Before, right?
So
Yeah.
for me, I choose not to. It's today it's so difficult to build a good name and to have good feedback from your clients. So it's a really hard job. I don't want to mess with that. I don't do that. I don't do wishes.
Perfect. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Thea, I have another question for you. What do you think is the biggest problem in permanent makeup industry now? In
Ah,
pigmentation, for example. Like, what do you think is the biggest problem?
ah, look, we first of all we in I'm speaking about this kind of market, but I suppose it's the same. First of all, there was a problem because our colleagues did one education, and then they thought that they learned everything. So when we raise awareness that you cannot learn everything from one education, that you need to change uh, educators first. You need to change. You need to learn. You will learn from everyone. Every your education, you will learn something. And the worst is case, you will learn what not to do. But in some point, when we fix all our problems, we learn technique. We learn all about devices, needles, pigments, I think brands, and your health results still doesn't work for you. Then it's a problem about knowledge of the pigmentology. It's because it's a very complex thing. It's not only colorimetry.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are not placing a color on the surface of our skin. This cannot be washed. We use some um, I, products of heavy metals. Who tell you that this is not heavy metals? It's a lie. It's heavy metals. We cannot. We all are pigments for all kind of industry. We get from the same materials. What is important? Important is to know how much, which amount is not actually bad for our body, which amount we can use to be safe in our procedure. So it's about chemistry always, because this is chemical particles, materials that we use. It's about biology, human body, magnificent thing. So we cannot just do it without information and knowledge what is actually happened to that color in our skin. And it's physics because everything in this world have uh, let me try to do simplest explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Acting due to physics law. So our body, our technique, our pigments, everything, we are actually uh, restricted with physics law. At the end, only at the, of course, in mathematics is there because of depends of proportional colors in some mix, we are creating different kind of shades. And then only then at the end is colorimetry. It's not simple thing.
Yeah, I'm really happy that we have. For now, we have a lot of new people coming up, like Dr. Vitali, for example. We need
Yes, yeah, I
doctors,
love
right?
him.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
yes,
need doctors here because there is. We are working with the skin, and
yes,
we are only permanent makeup artists. So I think that we need some kind of consultations from the doctor's side.
yes.
They have to explain to us some things what we don't know because we didn't take a medicine school, right?
I did. I have my medical base
Oh,
ground,
okay.
but with everyone else who didn't need those kind of updates.
Yeah.
Only when as I said on the beginning, because we are not working on the paper.
Yeah.
Our
Exactly.
skin is magnificent. I love Dr. Mikryukov. He's very helpful for me. I know that is also for you.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
his education is also game changing.
Yeah. And
Yes.
it's really needed for everyone. It's really needed for everyone because I
Yes.
think that there is a. I think there is a lot of people who know like the tech, but pigmentology is not so popular. It's
Yes.
becoming more popular, but even like 2 3 years ago it wasn't so popular. So
Yes.
we are change like the our industry is changing rapidly.
Because
And
we are raising awareness that technique is okay, you need to know. It's first thing that you need to learn. But it's not only about technique.
yeah, exactly. Tess, Thea, I have another question for you.
Yes, of
I
course.
see that a lot of people, even some of my students for example, they are always changing the pigments, and they are choosing these ones and these ones and these ones. What do you think? Do you think it's good to change the pigments all the time, or you think it's better, for example, to have few shades of the pigments, maybe 3 4 from the organic, 3 4 from the mineral, and that's it, and just learn how to work with them? What do you think is the best choice for the artists?
I know that I have colleagues that on every congress I see them run from the stand to stand and buying the pigments, like and I'm always choosing the same colors from different brands. But I always have four pigments, for example, two correctors, and from example, from I don't know hybrids, and the same from the mineral. Because when you learn how to how to make proper mix and what you need for proper mix. It doesn't matter which brand you use. You know how to get that color from anything that you have in your salon. It doesn't have to, because I'm always joking with my colleagues. You could buy some good bag or some good shoes with that amount of money. You don't need this kind of pigments. You don't need that number of pigments, because they have a time predicted for safely use. You cannot use all those colors in that time. You don't need to throw out your money because everybody is looking for instant solution. There is no instant solution. Only solution is the knowledge.
Yeah, thank you.
You are welcome.
Thea, do you have something else to say to people what they should be aware of and at the end of our podcast?
Of course. I want to tell about some colors that are not actually they are forbidden for use. There are some greens and some blue colors. They are mainly minerals. I will send you some of them. You can put in the comment just to
Okay.
know people to know, because now when we have this kind of rich regulation, all market is flowed with mineral pigments there because they are rich approved. But we know that our mineral red 7749491 is the pigment which remain in the skin the long time. Lifetime of that kind of pigment is really, really long. So for all mineral pigments which consist red, and they must consist red because without her we cannot build our mix our brown. You know that after, for example, 18 months or 2 years, you will have always red,
Mm-hmm.
transition in red. And in that, to prevent that, our manufacturers are putting the green in our mixes. I know that they are complementary, and green, which is consist yellow and blue, will always give some kind of brown when you connect to the red. But it's what is the problem? There are um, azo azo bridges in that particle of molecule, and when you uh, try to remove them with laser, but you will, because they always give those greenish gray military green color in our skin due to time. But when you try to remove that, those azo bridges is breaking, and those particles which remain in our bodies are highly toxic, even in some cases cancerogen.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell to my students, please read on the bottle of your pigments your CA numbers. If you see this, and this, don't buy it. But I buy the pigment don't have CA numbers. They don't have CA numbers. Don't buy it at all. Because you don't want to buy pigments from the manufacturers who will not put the transparently CA numbers that are they are giving us information what is exactly in this bottle. So
Yeah.
this is what I always I'm trying to explain to my students. I know that for them it's getting out from comfort zone, but please, the only way that we actually can control our manufacturer is only when we decide not to buy products which contain those dangerous obstacles.
Okay. And Tea, I have the last question.
Yes, of course.
Um, what about the REACH regulation?
Ah, yes. Rich regulation, actually, what is the problem? Rich regulations restrict all our reds, the fabulous reds that we use, and all our yellows. We cannot use uh, materials that we use, for example, year ago. So for now, mineral pigments are the first choice because we know that they are all safe for use, but they cannot perform like our uh, synthetic organic. So I
Yeah.
believe that will at the end will somebody will make some good formula for us. For example, I see now that actually permablend getting gets pretty nice line, very close to previous with rich approved materials. I must tell that Hanami or Labina have very nice products with all rich approved materials. I love those colors. We analyze them together. You see them,
Yeah.
and I hope that we are gonna get the formulas which is working for us because we are huge market. It's not our job to worry about that. This is my only thing that we actually need to do. It's to buy the pigment which is uh, under the rich regulation, because
Yeah.
we are not only industry which is under the rich regulation. It's all kind of industry. Car industry, electric industry, pharmaceuticals, and blah, blah, every food industry, everything, every industry in the world is under the rich regulation according to Europe. Yes, but I also must tell that uh, England, Russia, Ukraine, America, China, Australia, Africa, they are not under the rich regulation. Rich regulation is according just the part of Europe.
Yeah.
So this is only for us who is living in Europe, in European Union. So I don't think that is bad. I think that we all have need to have good standards, and I believe that the manufacturers will do some magic for us.
Thank you, Tea. You are
You are
amazing.
welcome.
I am so happy I could meet you again today, and
Yes,
hopefully
thank
I
you for
will
calling.
meet you. Hopefully I will meet you in Czech Republic or Slovakia again.
I hope so. I'm sure that I am. I'm sure that we're
You,
gonna see each other again. Thank you very much for this podcast. It was very nice. I'm
yeah,
always in the mood to talk about pigmentology.
yeah. You
So
are the right person.
thank you, honey. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
this kind of podcast, but because this is actually what our colleagues need, because this is the really good way to find out about experience of the worldwide colleagues or different artists, and maybe to get good information. something
Yeah,
which can
exactly.
be helpful for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a beautiful day and hopefully to see you soon there.
Thank you again. Thank you. You're adorable. It was huge pleasure. And send me just link. I will share this on my profile, please.
Okay. I will send it to you. Thank you so
Love
much.
you. Love you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.